another episode of Going All In, Get the Edge You Need to Succeed. I'm Dr. Erin McKinley, and today we have another awesome spotlight session with Michelle Morgan from the Russell Sage College Dietetic Internship Program based in Albany, New York. All right, well, welcome to the podcast. We have the Michelles with us today, so I would love to start with an introduction from both of you, your journey to RD, and how you landed in your positions with Russell Sage College.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Erin, for having us. My name is Michelle Morgan. I'm the director of the Dietetic Internship Program with Russell Sage College. My journey to become a registered dietitian started just with a passion for food, for science, for helping people. And my interest really actually grew in high school. I took a nutrition science class in high school and then was able to do an independent study. And then I was fortunate to actually complete my bachelor's degree at Russell Sage College. So I'm very fortunate to be back working within the department that taught me so much. And I then transitioned into a dietetic internship with the Bronx VA Medical Center and concurrently completed my master's in clinical nutrition and dietetics at New York University. And I was so adamant that I was going to work in clinical for the rest of my life. And for whatever reason, my interest kind of shifted when I got to have exposure to working with interns, mentoring and precepting them. And I decided I wanted to change my career path more towards academics and working in higher education. And I was fortunate, after working clinically for some time, to take the role that my colleague here, Michelle, is currently in, the internship coordinator position, and then was fortunate to be hired into the director position sometime after that. So it's been a very exciting path, and I definitely love what I do.
And I am Michelle Guy. I am the dietetic internship coordinator for Russell Sage College. I recently graduated last year from Russell Sage's internship in 2020. So my path started with nutrition. I had an associate's degree in business. I had a couple of jobs, and I decided that, banking world wasn't for me. So I was very passionate about nutrition, just reading anything I possibly could, just learning anything I possibly could. So it just kind of went hand in hand, and I looked at the path and what it took to become a registered dietitian and was a little bit intimidated at that point, but I decided to get back into it anyway. And I transferred to Russell Sage College to finish out my bachelor's degree in nutrition, and I went straight into the internship program through the pre-select, and I was lucky enough to get to complete that last year. And that was an amazing experience. I really enjoyed it. So after the internship, I actually knew that I was going to be moving this year to Texas. So I didn't really want to get into any clinical experience yet, and just having to move so quickly. And this position just kind of fell into my lap, and Professor Morgan asked me if I would like to help out with the coordinator position, and I was more than happy to. So that's how I got to this position.
All right. Well, thank you both for being with me today. I'm going to let y'all roll right into the presentation about your program.
Excellent. So first, I wanted to start off by just sharing with you where we are actually located. So Russell Sage College is located in the Capital District of New York State. So we're about 2.5 hours north of New York City. We have campuses in Albany and in Troy. My office particularly, and Michelle's office, is in the Troy location. And we do place our interns around the Capital District. So that would be Albany, Schenectady, Troy areas, Saratoga Springs. We do have an intern that we place up near Plattsburgh, New York as well. So the majority, however, of our interns are placed within the Capital District of New York State for our on-site program. So let's start off with just a general overview about our program. So We are a generalist program with a concentration area in communications. Our program is a graduate certificate. So our full-time interns complete a 10-month program, with our part-time interns completing the program within a 20-month time frame. And the graduate certificate includes 1,280 supervised practice hours, and you'll see here listed that is at 40 hours full-time, 24 hours part-time. And the interns also take graduate coursework concurrently, which I will talk to briefly momentarily. We have on-site and distance tracks, and the graduate certificate is a total of 24 graduate credits. So just to break down the coursework, we have 3 practicums at 6 credits each, and we have 2 graduate courses, as I mentioned, that are taken concurrently with 2 of the practicums. So one of the courses is nutrition research, interpretation, and communication, and then the other is advanced medical nutrition therapy. And in the fall, the interns take 9 credits, spring 9 credits, and then the summer, little bit of a lighter load with just 1 practicum at 6 credits. We do have 2 master's programs that are fully online, and our interns do get automatically accepted into these programs. So if they are interested, they can transition seamlessly into either our applied nutrition masters, again, all online. And then we also have a health service administration masters that the credits apply towards. So it is just a seamless transition through a program of study change. And again, all interns are automatically accepted should they wish to be automatically accepted into those programs. Our spot availability is 17 on-site and 12 distance for this year. This is including our pre-select group that was already accepted in the fall. And we do have 4 part-time spots available, and these are both for on-site and distance tracks. As I previously mentioned, we place our on-site group in the Capital District of New York State. So again, Albany, Schenectady, Troy, Saratoga area. And then Hudson, which is a little bit south of Albany. We do also have placements in the North Country. So that would be up towards Lake George, Queensbury, and also Plattsburgh. Now, I would never place someone in an area that is far outside of the Capital District unless that is where they want to go. So we do have a placement survey that is sent out to the students so they can indicate where they would like to stay for the internship. And then for the distance interns, placements are the prospective student responsibility, and all sites do have to be secured upon application. I will just make a note here that due to the pandemic and limitations, especially in obtaining long-term care and outpatient rotations, we have allowed for the sites to include acute care, food service management, and community, and they can, the preceptor sign-up form can omit outpatient and long-term care placements at this time. Okay, so we always have to go over what our mission and subsequent goals are. So our mission is to prepare entry-level registered dietitian nutritionists who are, of course, committed to lifelong learning and leadership within the profession. And our goals: prepare graduates to be competent in a variety of entry-level positions in the field of dietetics, and to prepare graduates who demonstrate lifelong learning as a personal and professional obligation for dietetics practice. So because we do have a communications concentration, I did want to review what those goals are. So the first is to review, analyze, and evaluate and disseminate current literature to establish recommendations for best practices in the field of nutrition and dietetics, and then to apply concepts and technology from current computer and web-based technologies and social media platforms for use within the field of nutrition and dietetics. And I usually get a lot of questions about the communications concentration, and this is definitely something that I do feel is very unique about our program, but communications and the interpretation of research and the ability to disseminate research to a variety of populations, as well as different professionals, is so imperative for our field. And so it just kind of organically falls within what we do as dietitians. So how do we fulfill this concentration? Many ways. We have the graduate level communications course. So some of the assignments that take place during this course are writing a news article, low literacy assignments, completing a rapid response assignment where you have to respond quite quickly to a question with evidence-based information, a media report, and a PR and communication plan. And then every practicum has many different communication related activities that are taking place. So you are doing oral presentations. Some of them are live, some are recorded, also to different audiences. You are having to present research to other professionals, having to present your own research findings to, for example, your food service management team, providing diet educations to patients or residents, and so on. So there's so many different ways that within practicum, the interns are utilizing their communication-based skills. We also have all of our interns develop a research poster, and they do have to present this as well. So we're really big on offering the interns different modalities to communicate and present evidence-based information. So how do we break down our 1,280 supervised practice hours? So our clinical hours are a total of 600. We have 11 weeks of that being in acute care and 2 weeks in outpatient, 2 weeks in long-term care. And we have 10 weeks in food service management and 7 weeks in community. So being a generalist program, we do offer a well-rounded exposure into the different facets of the field, which we feel are very important. So our program calendar for this upcoming year is not really going to change. You know, of course, we always have to say subject to change, but this is what it looks like each year. So we do have a mandatory pre-orientation that takes place via Zoom in either June or July. And we have a mandatory orientation that is typically in person in Troy, New York, in August. And now we, of course, are offering that hybrid. So for those who are not able to attend in person, of course, so they can still be actively participating in that orientation. And Practicum 1 extends from August through November. We have our second practicum block that actually you'll see goes through our winter break. So starts December 6th, ends in late February. And we do give the week off of December 27th. And the third and final practicum runs from the end of March to early June. And then we wrap up with an exit week in early June. And we do have advising, presentations, class days, but this is not included on this calendar. Okay, so we are a graduate certificate program. So it's really important to remember that the interns do get 24 graduate credits, and the majority of those credits are from their supervised practice hours. So our on-site tuition is $16,080. This does not include incidentals, and then our distance tuition is $11,760. So again, that includes the 3 practicum courses and the supervised practice hours, as well as those 2 graduate courses. And full-time and part-time students are eligible for financial aid through our program. So for our application criterion scoring, we do require an overall GPA of a 3.0, and our applications are scored using the following criteria from DICAS. And the way that applications are screened is that we, first look to make sure that the applicants have that GPA of a 3.0. Both myself and the coordinator do review applications, and then they go out to a review committee, of which 3 different people aside from us do review these applications, and we do average those points, but we also hold interviews which have additional points as well. So that is a little bit about the application criteria and scoring. Okay, so of course we have now passed this deadline. However, each year we participate in the spring match. And we do have a pre-select option, but that is only for those students who go to Russell Sage College. So the spring match via DICAS, and we do require a mail release form, as well as an application fee for non-Russell Sage College students. And as I had mentioned, it is all distance students' responsibility to have their sites secured upon application. So there is that preceptor sign-up form that needs to be included there as well. So our registration exam 1-year pass rates have consistently been above, well, they mostly 100%, with a few dips there in the 90s, but we are very happy about these pass rates. Our interns work very, very, very hard to ensure their success on this exam, and we do feel that we prepare our interns really well. Okay, so what is our program looking for from a prospective intern? So our ideal candidates have a GPA above a 3.0. We are seeking emotional intelligence, experience in the field, strong communication skills, and excellent organization and time management skills. The program is only 10 months, and you are completing, again, those 24 graduate credits. So our program is academically based, and it is rigorous in that there are a lot of moving parts, and the interns work really hard throughout those 10 months, but at the end of the day, they will have already completed 24 credits of their graduate degree in those 10 months, which is pretty impressive. So just some additional information. We really do pride ourselves at Russell Sage on the one-to-one support. So really that individualized advisement and support from the program director, the entire department. And that is something that our interns really do always comment on, whether it be through surveys and focus groups. And even if things are very busy, they still feel supported, which is always wonderful to hear from my standpoint, because we really do strive to ensure that everyone feels like they are supported through the program. We do have approximately 300 preceptor affiliations and counting, so we are always working to grow our preceptor networks. We want to ensure that our interns are getting the experience that they're looking for. So as I had mentioned before, we do provide them with a placement survey where not only are they indicating the locations geographically that they might want to be placed, but also their areas of interest. So we can say, okay, you're interested in completing food service management in a long-term care facility or a hospital facility, or maybe you want to be more in a corporate setting. So we can accommodate that so they can really get to individualize their experiences to some extent. So in totaling our pass rates, 98.3% of our graduates have passed the registration exam within 1 year of first attempt for on-site and distance tracks over the past 5 years. And 97% of graduates reported that our program adequately prepares them for entry-level practice, or more than adequately prepares them upon completion of our program. So we're really happy about those outcomes. Just some additional information. I think it is so crucial to bring the interns outside of, the hospital setting, the food service management setting, and different community organizations, so they can really get an idea for everything else that's going on in the field. Because I think we can really get siloed into what we're focusing on or that task at hand. And our field is so vast, and it's crucial that interns know, and just as future dietitians, we know what's going on and what the opportunities are for us in the field. So we have our interns doing farm tours. This year, of course, we went on a virtual farm tour, which was fun. Not the same as in person, but still something. As I had mentioned, we do the research poster and abstract development, and some of the interns get to present that at our local, or I should say state annual meeting and expo. And we have a variety of dietitians or other health professionals come in to talk to our interns about a variety of different topics. And these are just some of them. So as I said, I think it's really important to know about all the happenings in the field, and bringing other professionals in to talk to our interns really helps to just expand their knowledge base. And also typically will expand their interest into other areas within the field that they may not have gotten exposed to in practicum. So that is a little bit about our program in the most condensed form that I can provide. So of course, I am always available to be reached. And I would love to just provide Michelle with an opportunity if she has anything she would like to add to that brief overview.
I appreciate that. I think it really sums up the program really well. And being that I did graduate from the SAGE internship last year, I'm able to kind of give the intern side of point of view as well, which I think as an intern, I really valued. And SAGE just did a wonderful job preparing myself and my colleagues for, entry-level experience, as well as the exam, which is on everybody's mind as an intern. So that was really wonderful. I really enjoyed my experiences as an intern, and SAGE provided me so many opportunities to grow in ways that are beyond the practicum, I would say. So you can do as much as you want to, you can grow as much as you want to, and you're provided a lot of opportunities to do so. So I think that's what I want to share so far.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that overview. Very informative. So I'm going to jump right into the 5 questions that I ask all programs that come on the podcast. And these questions were put together with the help of my students to make sure I was asking questions that students really wanted the answers to. So my first question is, what is one thing in particular that you just really love to see when you're reading an applicant's personal statement?
Yes, I love the personal statements, because this is where you really get to speak beyond your resume and tell us who you are. And I really want to feel the applicant's authenticity through that letter. And there are letters that you read that you feel are just going through the motions. They're responding to the questions as indicated. We want you to hear about your strengths and weaknesses. We want to, hear about your resilience, and all of these things are very important, but I want to be able to genuinely feel your authenticity and also your passion. But I also want to know why you are choosing my program, because that is something I think that a lot of candidates also will, just write blanket statements, and there is a reason that you are choosing this program to apply to, and we want to hear why. We want to know how our program is going to help shape you as a future dietitian. So authenticity, but I also want to hear more about why us. I think that is so important, because there are so many different programs out there. So what made you settle on us to apply to?
I have gotten the opportunity for the first time this semester to be able to read some of the letters coming in. And I think by looking at the application, you can only get so much from, reading something like that. And the letter really provides you an opportunity to discuss maybe, something on your application that it can't describe for us, so it really gives the person an opportunity to share with us, what they might have went through, or just really being genuine. And I really enjoyed feeling like I got to know the people that are writing these a little bit more than, actually way more than what the actual like DICUS applications can give us. So that's really what I enjoyed about reading them this semester.
All right. Well, my second question is a true or false question. And it's true or false, an applicant's resume should be 1 page and 1 page only. Either way, why?
I was thinking about this, and because I get this question from students so often, and I want to say false, because some people do have, especially those that might be coming from this is their second career. Some people may have substantial experience that is included, or maybe it's not a resume, they have a CV. And I think it's really important that that is included. So I guess it all depends on what is in the resume. So if it's a lot of experience, and I hate to say fluff, but if it's a lot of experience that could be summed up in 1 page, then yes, it should be 1 page. But there's so many wonderful experiences people have that are really important to share that could extend beyond a page. And so if that is the case, I have no problem, reading a multiple page resume. But again, if it is well constructed and it's 2 pages, fine. If it's poorly constructed and it's 2 pages and could have fit on 1, that makes a difference. My personal opinion.
I definitely agree with that. I think that just really putting a lot of time and effort into it and reading it over so many times, and having somebody else look at it too, because, if you have a professor or just a mentor in a way that can look at it and tell you if there is fluff, and say, maybe you don't need to include this, but maybe you can elaborate on this. I think that's very valuable for anybody to be able to do with their resume.
All right. So what is one or more things that an applicant may do, and this could be in any interaction you have with them prior to applying, or something in the application or in the interview process? What is one or more things that they may do that might raise some red flags for you, where you would think maybe this person isn't the best fit for our program?
One of my biggest red flags would be lack of professionalism in encounters, whether it is in-person encounters, email exchanges. That is something I have a lot of concern with, because our prospective students do know that, I am placing my interns at locations where they are essentially being evaluated whether or not they could be employed at that facility. And so I think, it is so imperative that the students are professional, respectful, especially being around the department, or, again, in email communications. That is probably my number one concern, is when I do see students just either speaking in an unprofessional manner to their faculty. And I understand that everyone has a totally different rapport with their friends. So if they're walking through the department talking with their friends, that's perfectly fine. But just being respectful in how you are composing yourself and just addressing, faculty and your mentors and preceptors. I think that is something that's really important and stands out to me, because the way that you interact with me or the faculty indicates how you are going to potentially interact with your preceptors. So that is something that is a huge red flag if I have any concerns regarding professional behavior. Another thing that I would say is a red flag that sometimes just takes having a conversation, but also going along the lines of professionalism, is email and constructing appropriate professional emails, and not saying, hey, what's up, things like that when addressing faculty or preceptors or somewhat future employers. I think it's really important, and because we are so used to communicating in what seems like might be more laid back ways, it's email is a formal mode of communication, so it should be used as such when you're communicating with your faculty and future employers.
So what is one aspect of the program that you're actively working on trying to make an even better experience for the interns?
I don't want to say there are so many things, but we always are working on quality improvement on, how can we make this experience better? So one of the things, I can't say that we're doing anything substantial right now, with the exception we are working on implementing a new kind of management system, which will be fantastic in streamlining processes for not only the interns, but also our preceptors as well. So that's more of a systematic, kind of change that we're making. But I am really, really a big fan of obtaining feedback, of collecting data, looking at outcomes and seeing what can we do to improve processes, make things flow better. So I always obtain like mid-semester feedback from the interns. We do a lot of advising focus groups, and every year I will take the feedback and I will make changes. They might not be massive changes. It could be something, for example, if interns say, I really would like to have more check-ins with my faculty. Okay, when? So then the next year or next semester, we are going to implement multiple check-ins instead of just one at the end of the semester. So we're just constantly taking feedback and seeing how we can apply it to make our program better. So I can't necessarily say one thing in particular, but we are always making changes to make sure that we have an efficient program, to make sure that the interns are doing things that they need, and there's not a lot of excess that is not conducive to their learning as well. So
I think my unique perspective as an intern too for this question, when I was in my internship with Sage and COVID hit, there was a lot of trying to figure out how, we're going to get the experience that we want as interns and that we need. And I think they did a fantastic job at allowing us the opportunities and creating these opportunities for us with the dietitians, if it be virtually or getting us in person as much as they can. So that was really a way that they were improving things on the fly as fast as possible. So that really, I was very impressed with that as an intern, as well as any time that we have speakers or any of those opportunities where you just want to learn about a part of the nutrition field. You mention that to the faculty and they are on it. They are trying to find their outreach. They're trying to find dietitians who would like to speak to us about it. It's definitely a way that they're improving as well, or that we're improving. So I really valued those things that they were so quick to help us with and allow us those opportunities.
All right, perfect. So my last question of the 5 is a 2-part question. And the first half is, what would be the 3 best adjectives, descriptors, or phrases that you feel best describes your program overall?
Okay, so to best describe our program, I would say supportive, challenging / involved, and I would also say rewarding. Are those accurate descriptors, Michelle? Do you feel?
I would definitely say that. I was trying to think of the ones that I'd like to say, and I think you definitely hit the nail on the head. The supportive really resonates with me, for sure, that you can just reach out anytime you need to as an intern and you're getting a response, very quickly. So I think that as an intern just helps so much because the programs are very rigorous. So, that support can mean everything to you while you're going through it. So I don't think I can come up with better ones, honestly.
All right, well, the second half is very similar. The 3 best adjectives, descriptors, or phrases to describe your ideal applicant.
So I already used this word once. Resilience is really important, whether it is shared, in the personal statement, or, is just something that you are able to convey, of course, throughout the program. That is a really important quality. I feel there are so many I could say, the ability to pivot. So being adaptable is hugely important, but driven, equally important. The one thing, and I know I'm going on and on about it with different terms, but I really also think being innovative is hugely important for the intern success as well. There are so many. Sorry, so many adjectives I could come up with for that one.
I think passionate is a huge one. Just being able to convey that in, your communication with us, however that is. Driven for sure, because you have to be to get through these programs, whether it be ours or any other, you have to be driven. I don't really know a specific word, but just a go-getter. Like, just go out and get however much experience that you possibly want, because it's out there and you're allowed to do that. So you can take this internship for as much as you want to. So go out there and get it.
All right, great. Well, I just had one additional question, and Michelle Guy kind of touched on this a little bit with the COVID changes that you had to do over the last year. Is there anything that you had to change to be more virtual for maybe the on-site students that you actually like and you think you're going to keep around, just because it seems like it's working out really well?
We have actually, with some of the changes we had to make last March, we have continued with many of them and have found them to be particularly successful. So we've applied, certain activities that were not inexistent in the way that we're utilizing them now. So for example, of course, we have a theme meal project that the interns have always done. And typically the interns would, write a paper and have to provide a lot of different, materials. And we decided, because they had to pivot to doing their theme meal at home, why don't we do presentations instead? So why don't we have them actually present and really show us what they did instead of writing this, really long paper, because everyone at that point was just feeling very fatigued and overwhelmed, had multiple papers and things. So we were like, why don't we shift this? And the interns loved it, and I loved it. It was just viewing it in a different way. And it was really great to actually see the interns' enthusiasm, even though they were, at home. They felt like they were so glad that they were able to, cook, maybe they hadn't really, just with everything going on. So that was really enjoyable. So we've kept that modification, that now the theme meal, they of course turn in supplemental materials that we have to look over, but they do a presentation, and they loved hearing about what, their peers also were doing. Something else that we did was a peer mentorship. So having the interns who say were in the first cohort, say they started in food service management, the second cohort will be going into food service management. So we had the previous food service management interns actually mentor the ones going into the rotation. And that was a great way for, I think, and I know Michelle was a part of this, but just to provide more community in a time when I think that people were feeling more out of touch just with things going on. And it was a great way to have that peer-to-peer support. So that is something that we have kept and I think worked out really well. We still have other activities that the interns do as part of their mentorship competency, but I think that to be able to have that collegial support, knowing that they're all in this together is really wonderful. And to just get to share their experiences because they're at such different places. And lastly, I always have a lot to say, but lastly, the interns are doing diet education role playing. So even though they are, in their sites providing education, One of them is acting as, a patient. They're given a specific disease that they have to act out. And then the other intern will interview them, and they are recorded and posted. And this is a great way for me, first of all, to get to see their education skill sets even prior to or very early on going into the clinical setting. So, that's something that I can evaluate and assess and see how they improve going forward. So, there's many other things that we've included in the curriculum. So there have been some positives from a curriculum development and also delivery standpoint.
Yes, the peer mentoring was really helpful, I felt, because everything is professional, but you're able to kind of ask the questions that you want to know to your other interns that maybe you wouldn't necessarily ask to a preceptor. You know what I mean? Not inappropriate or anything, but just like the real details, you know what I mean? So it can be something like that, but I found it very helpful during that time to ask. I was going in my clinical rotation, and so getting to ask the clinical students what they had gone through at the location that I was going to or supposed to be going to at the time. So I really enjoyed that. And we did some case studies from various dietitians in the community who presented the cases to us, and they were actual cases that they had encountered. So that was very valuable to us who had a little bit limited time on site at the time. But we have carried over some of that this year. And even though the interns are on site, I find this beneficial because you might see cases, of a pediatric case that you were never working with pediatric, in the site that you may have been at. So you get to actually see a pediatric case or, things like that you might not actually even get to run into, even though you're on site and you're participating face to face. So I find that very valuable as well.
Right. Well, that was all the questions that I had. So I would love to close out this episode with a take-home message from both of you to potential applicants this year.
It is so important, to not lose sight of who you are throughout this journey and be true to yourself, and just follow your passion and know that even though this process is rigorous, ultimately everything will end up working out and you will end up exactly where you need to be. I think it's so important also to not compare yourself to others and focus on being true to who you are again, and really just working on building your own confidence and know that you got this. This is the journey you want. And if it is the journey you want, and you will get there.
I definitely agree with that. I think that it's very important that through this process that, you understand that it's going to be difficult, and that's okay. It's okay that it's going to be hard. It's okay that it's going to be stressful, and that you will get through it. So just really keep moving forward no matter what. Just keep your head up and communicate with your preceptors, communicate with your faculty of your DI program, and with your other interns. They can be very, very valuable source of help really. And just, keep an open mind. Definitely keep an open mind, because you might go into a situation thinking, wow, I definitely don't want anything to do with community nutrition. And then you come out on the other side and say, wow, I think that's what I want to do. I don't want to do clinical anymore. So just really keep an open mind and enjoy the process, even though it's going to be difficult.
And thank you both for being with me on the episode today. And for those at home who would like more information on the Dietetic Internship Program at Russell Sage College, I provided the link to their program website in the description below this video. And as always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an episode with another awesome dietetic